Away, which means both the Lions and Riders have one last chance to fine-tune things, one last chance to get ready, and for many of these players, one last chance to make the team and prove that they belong. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Vancouver and BC Place as we get set to wrap up the preseason. One of the biggest storylines heading into the year. We're going to get a look at him tonight.
Yeah, Nathan Rourke, the starting quarterback for the BC Lions, and I love the debate in the panel. They're already talking about the Canadian element in this story, but Nathan Rourke has looked outstanding in training camp by all accounts from his teammates. They are behind him 100%. Rick Campbell, the head coach, has decided that he's going to treat him like the franchise player. Did not dress for the first game in the preseason. And for Cody Fajardo, who will start the game tonight and play in the first half, boy, it's a pressure cooker for Fajardo this year. He's got a brand new baby. The Grey Cup's in his city. He's been knocking on the door for 2 straight years in the West Final. Can't get across that threshold. This is the year for Cody Fajardo.
Time to take it to the next level for his head coach as well, Craig Dickinson, in his 3rd season, 22-10 so far with the Riders, but a couple of West Final defeats against you-know-who, which doesn't sit well with Riders fans, I'm sure. And on the other side, Rick Campbell, been with the organization now heading in for 3 years. Of course, one of those seasons didn't happen, so he's in his 2nd season as Lions head coach. 5-9 last year, and we are ready to get this game started. Thank you very much for joining us here on a Friday night on the West Coast. And this will be taken at the 15, brought back up to around the 35. Jeremiah Hadel on the return for the Riders, and that is where this offense and Cody Fajardo will get the ball.
Yeah, unlike a few weeks ago a few days ago, I should say, against Winnipeg in the first preseason game, we'll see a lot of the Saskatchewan starters, including Cody Fajardo. There's his touchdown interception ratio. Back in 2019, he was best in the league at the deep ball. That fell off in his sophomore season in 2021 in the shortened season, but got a good camp. He's got his starters around him.
Had a huge year in 2019. Mediocre season last year, and he'll turn around and hand this ball off to a guy who's going to have a lot of opportunity this year, filling some big shoes, and that's Jamal Morrow, and he gets stuffed on first down.
Yeah, you mentioned his 19 year, and Cody Fajardo, when you look at the last 2 seasons playing with that missed season in between in 2020, 21-8, the win-loss record, over 7,000 yards passing, and again, 2nd year as a starter in 21 in the shortened season, no training camp, missed season. Timing was off with some of his big targets, but they've been working together all camp and had a great camp.
2nd and 8 here for the Riders. Fajardo over the middle, got it into the hands of the intended target, but Jacob Prawl was not able to haul that one in, and that'll bring up 3rd down for the visitors.
No, but an accurate throw. You know, a real accurate throw, because there was a defender underneath, and Prawl had a shot at it, put it right out in front of him where he could go and get it, and that just threw the hands of the rookie receiver, trying to make a name for himself as quickly as he can, but to bounce back from that. Good throw, though, from Fajardo.
A lot of talk about the Riders offense, trying to take it up a notch this year, and you're going to have a couple of guys. Evans was hurt last year. They didn't get Duke Williams till later in the year. That's 2 massive weapons that they will have for, hopefully, the entire season, as this is kicked away. It'll be taken after a 47-yard kick along the near sideline, and eventually forced out of bounds is Monte Crockett on the return.
Well, here he comes, Nathan Rourke, and it's going to be interesting to watch him play. And I agree with Matt Dunnigan before the game when he said this is exciting. It's exciting time, and we'll have lots of time to lean into the Canadian part of this story. But I think the entire organization is hoping that the fans, football fans across the country, will just put aside the passport for a second and look at a great quarterback prospect for the BC Lions, because he has been nothing but excellent in training camp, and his teammates love the guy.
He starts here on his own 28. He's got Butler in behind him. He'll tuck it into his belly, and Butler pushes ahead. A pretty nice pickup on first down for James Butler.
Here's the other thing. Back last year, Nathan Rourke got a lot of first-team reps in practice because Michael Riley was injured to start the season. So he went into Mosaic Stadium and actually was a surprise starter. And what I loved about that game is he faced a little bit of adversity early, a couple of interceptions like all young quarterbacks do, but he bounced back from those interceptions to throw a couple of touchdowns. So he was resilient in game 1 when he was a surprise starter in Saskatchewan.
2nd and 4 for Rourke. Has some time over the middle. He's got a completion. He's got a first down. And that'll be taken just outside the 40 by Javon Catoy.
Big target in Javon Catoy, who again is another one of those guys that you got to believe is going to just have that light switch go on and is going to become a #1 target for the offense. And look how he just, that's inside route from the #2 spot.
Straight up mismatch with that size. Like you said, big guy, 6'5", 230.
Yeah, just block out like you're trying to rip down a rebound.
You don't see a lot of guys carry that size at the receiver position in the CFL. 1st and 10 on the 41. That one in and out of the hands of Rhymes. And luckily for him, it did fall incomplete. 2nd and 10.
So Nathan Rourke grew up in Oakville. Senior year in high school, went down to Alabama. Ended up at Ohio University and then just broke all their records as a Bobcat. 3 straight bowl games, won them all. MVP of the Potato Bowl after that. I mean, the guy has the resume to get this opportunity.
And it is a big opportunity. Glenn mentioned a lot of the weapons that he has, and he has some of the elite receivers in this league. There's a completion. That's going to be a first down. Some fine work there by Catoy after making that catch.
You just sometimes you from watching Javon Catoy throughout the last couple of years, already in a couple of plays in this opening series for BC, I just see a little different level in confidence. I mean, just catching the ball with confidence, breaking a couple of tackles, 11-yard gain.
Nice pickup for Catoy, getting involved in this offense in the early stages of this final preseason game. Cannot wait until next week. 4 receivers to the right here for Rourke. He'll hand it off to Butler, and another pretty good first down carry from James Butler, who had almost 500 yards on the ground last season.
Yeah, about a 5-yard average. Played in what was it, about 10 games, I think, 10, 11 games, and the feature back. So, you know, I've always said that players coming up from the U.S. specifically in that 2nd year, now they know how to train in the offseason, because you're never really sure as an American.
For the style of game
you're
playing?
For the style of game, for the speed, for the size of the field, and all the dimensions and nuances of Canadian football.
2nd and 3. Back to Butler again. Butler pushing ahead. I think he's going to be just shy of the 3 yards that they needed, and the ball will be sitting there just on the Riders' side of the field.
We've got some of the starters up front, Joel Figueroa and Suk Chung, blocking for the starting offensive unit. You've mentioned some of the receivers. We've seen Catoy. We'll see Keon Hatcher, Lucky Whitehead, and Brian Burnham, who signed a new contract this year for a year.
Rourke, the keeper, flag on the play. A 2nd flag coming out late. You saw fly into your screen, but it was a push ahead by Rourke. More than enough for the first down.
It is quite interesting, though, when you talk to Rick Campbell and
offside, Saskatchewan, defensive line. 5-yard penalty, first down.
the BC organization about Nathan Rourke, and I was on some conference calls with the entire media and listening to Rick, and they talked about Nathan, and they said it's interesting because everyone's calling this a gamble because Nathan Rourke is a Canadian. So because he's a Canadian, it's a gamble. It's not a gamble. He's a great prospect with an excellent resume, just like a lot of quarterbacks that have played down south, and he's earned the right to get this chance.
8th play of the drive. Rourke out into the flat. He's got a completion, and that one will be pushed ahead almost for another first down as he gets his fullback Mackey involved for almost 9 yards.
Boy, and he's got some weapons. Another year for Mr. Highlight Reel Brian Burnham. You just wonder what he's going to do to get us up out of our seats again.
There'll be a few times with him and Lucky Whitehead that I'm sure BC Place here will be brought to their feet.
Well, and the combination of the two.
Yeah,
you know,
dangerous.
That's what was so exciting when Lucky Whitehead had a chance to play, and you just think about those two into the boundary as 1 and 2 weapons for Nathan Rourke to just feed some great guys. You can throw a hitch pass to Lucky Whitehead.
It's an ideal situation
exactly.
for a young quarterback. You got these two receivers, both had major impacts on the game in different ways. 3rd and inches now. They're going to try to push it ahead again to keep this drive alive. Rourke trying to find a hole. Looks like he got it. He just needed inches. That should be more than enough. And the BC Lions offense will remain on the field.
He's athletic too. I mean, 39 games for the Bobcats. Nathan Rourke threw for 70 touchdowns and over 7,000 yards, but he also ran the ball for over 2,600 yards and 49 touchdowns in his college career, again breaking all their records. So he's a great athlete too when he gets outside the pocket.
Nice to see starters on starters here. You know, as opposed to a bunch of second and third. Just so you can get the confidence of playing against, like, if you have a good game today, you're, well, I did it against the Riders starters in the first half or however long it lasts. Now he's going to swing it out into the hands of Whitehead. Here goes Lucky Whitehead, takes it down towards the 20. Little stumble, and he's going to fall at around the 21. But anytime that guy touches the ball, I don't know if it's everybody, but I get a little excited to see what he can do.
Well, exactly. I mean, you just felt the electricity when you see this guy just number 3 out to the wide side of the field, which isn't quite as wide as it was before. More balance. We mentioned the hash marks in our first game and how they've changed and got closer to the middle of the field by 4 yards each side. So it should bring more balance and give more space to guys like Lucky Whitehead.
11 yards there for Whitehead. Rourke is 4 of 5 for 39 yards on this opening drive. Once again, out to Butler. And Butler got his fingertips on it, but could not haul it in, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 for Rourke in this BC offense.
Yeah, they've had success in this first drive on first down, which has really helped, you know, Nathan Rourke. I mentioned last year getting a chance because Michael Riley was hurt.
Yep.
Coming out of training camp through a lot of camp. So Nathan Rourke ran with the first team for a ton of it. You know, and he, like I said, he faced some adversity in that first game against Saskatchewan, but bounced back from it and got to know his number 1 teammates.
Burnham and Whitehead to the left. He's going to come over the middle, guns one in there, and that is complete once again. And Catoy is having himself a drive to start this game.
Really nice accuracy here in the window in a zone defense to get Catoy outside to the left of your screen. He'll just sit down, and Nathan Rourke has to throw it low and away because that inside linebacker was closing fast, and that's Darnell Sankey. Remember Darnell Sankey?
Big addition to this team.
Absolutely.
Had a huge season last year, bursting onto the scene with the Calgary Stampeders. 14th play of this drive for Rourke. Butler stands in behind him. They're going to give it to Butler. Butler couldn't cut it back. Riders are all over it, and that'll bring up a 2nd down situation. 2-yard loss for Butler on that carry.
Yeah, great play by Pete Robertson there to step up field and just cut off the escape lane there for Butler to the outside. He was trying to bounce that, and when you have contained responsibility and you lose it, big play happens and the tailback scores, but not that time. Pete Robertson got that contained, turned it inside, and his teammates helped him out with the tackle.
Showed some flashes last year, did Robertson. He's in his 2nd year at Texas Tech. 2nd and goal from the 12. A throwing situation here for Rourke. 3 receivers to his left. Looks there first. Now he's going to go towards the corner. That's up for grabs, and it falls incomplete. And of course, he was looking for Catoy once again, and Devon could not haul that one in.
There he is, right in the middle of that 3-receiver set to the outside. Just a little fade route. So Roland Milligan in coverage. Again, a pretty accurate throw too from Nathan Rourke, that backside shoulder to try and give his receiver a chance to use some leverage there on the outside, but great play defensively.
Sean White returning home to BC this year, and he knocks it through to give the BC Lions their first lead of the ball game. 3-0, the home side leads. Pretty nice drive from Rourke. Stopped right here, but something to build on for sure. Big time Football is back. Cannot wait. The CFL regular season kicks off on June 9th with an action-packed schedule rolling into the weekend. Tune in on Thursday as the Alouettes take on the Stampeders at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, exclusively on TSN. We love football. We love preseason football, but we really love regular season football.
We're getting there. And Red Blacks, Bombers, that's the Friday night game. 25 years, 1997 was our first year of Friday night football.
I was telling you earlier in the week, I got my driver's license that year.
Yeah.
It was a huge year for me, too.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me that.
I almost failed my test.
Speaking of your driver's license, though, you know what gas prices were back in 1997?
I don't even want to guess.
About 55 cents a gallon. 55 cents a gallon.
I do remember shortly after
Wow.
I got my license, gas was like 35 cents for a week. It was like a gas war. Like,
well, you were in Alberta, that's why.
I know, I was in Cranbrook. So yeah, it's even crazier being there. Here's Fajardo now, 2nd and 10. The ball on the 40. And he's got a completion up right near midfield. So Cody Fajardo is going to get this offense moving into the hands of Justin McInnes.
A nice catch over the middle and catch and throw from Fajardo with a former first-round pick, 6th overall back in 19. And Justin McInnes and Keon Schaefer-Baker along with Samuel Emelis. Pretty good Canadian receiving corps.
Now they're going to toss it underneath. This will be cut back and taken for a first down as well. Jacob Prahl getting involved in the offense. He had a catch on Tuesday in the game earlier this week.
And a nice play to bounce back from that drop in the first drive.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a first down possible catch that he went through his hands on drive 1 for Saskatchewan tonight, and he bounces back with a nice fly sweep.
He's out of Brown University, signed in April with the Riders. 1st and 10 for the BC 44. A little bit of pressure. Fajardo gets it away into the hands of Evans. And Evans able to make something out of that.
So here is it. This is it. These two guys right here. And the pressure cooking is on right now because this is Cody Fajardo, big year for him. We mentioned that off the top. But the chemistry between he and Shaq Evans, they feel really good about. In the offseason, they work together. Before training camp, they work together, get their timing down. It was an issue last year, but they're back and they feel real confident about the season. So I'm looking for fireworks from those two.
7 games for Evans last year. Had 5 touchdowns back in 2019, which was a huge year for Fajardo. Now Fajardo's going to look that way again on the far side, and what a catch. Schaefer-Baker goes up and gets it.
Speaking of expectations going through the roof, this is the guy that can get it done. I mean, athletically, look at that. I mean, we saw a similar play last week or a few days ago against Winnipeg where he makes this catch, basically hurdles a couple of tacklers for a first down. I mean, unbelievably athletic. Just got to keep his head in the playbook like every single player out there. Make sure he knows his assignments, and the sky's the limit for 89.
He had a couple of catches for 28 yards on Tuesday. Now they're going to hand it off to Morrow. A little bit of a head fake there, and he's able to take it down inside the BC 25.
12 games last year. He had 47 catches for 563 yards and a couple of touchdowns, but a couple of real spectacular plays, like plays where you go, wow, like that's above and beyond. So you take that athleticism and then you combine it with concentration and discipline when it comes to the playbook and all of his assignments. You got an all-star.
A nice response here from the Riders after a 16-play, 70-yard scoring drive that took almost 9 minutes for the Lions. Fajardo incomplete, was looking for his fullback, and now a flag at the end of the play.
Albert Awachi trying to get out into the flat, maybe just took a peek as to where he wanted to run before securing the catch. But let's take a look at the penalty, because it's like they're talking to the Riders, which means it's against the BC Lions.
Unnecessary roughness. BC, number 90. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Matthew Betts.
Still pleading his case, isn't he?
First year with the BC Lions, being a high draft pick in Edmonton, gets a fresh start here in Vancouver. Ball on the 10.5 here for Cody Fajardo. Less than a minute to go in the opening quarter. Riders trailing 3-0. Fajardo looking to strike. He's going to look towards the end zone. Oh, and through the hands of Jacob Prahl again. Prahl laid out trying to get it. They're getting him involved in the offense here in the first quarter. No doubt about that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he's, you know, when you take a look at his size, he's 6 foot 190. So trying to run that outside fade route on Marcus Sales and then just elevate to the football, and that one, the first one was on him because it was real catchable and he dropped it where Cody threw him open, and that one was a little bit high. That would have been a spectacular catch to bring it in.
They'll get another crack at it here. 2nd and 10 for Fajardo. Looks to his right, now throws to his right, ball up for grabs. And incomplete. Tried to find Duke Williams, get him involved for the first time tonight. Williams couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, again, another fade route, and they're just trying to work this. You know, in the preseason, you'll often see just sort of vanilla type plays. They're not trying to out-scheme necessarily the opponent because there's still evaluation. Now, Duke Williams has made the team, so don't misunderstand.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's fine. But they want to keep it, you know, pretty vanilla and just watch guys do their one-on-one drills, basically.
Sean White opened the scoring for the BC Lions. Brett Lothar an opportunity to tie this game, and he puts it home, and we are deadlocked at 3. Great start here in BC. Cody Fajardo getting the Riders on the board, tying this game at 3 at the leg of Lothar. Fajardo 4 for 8, 42 yards on that scoring drive. And both offenses moving the ball well. Very quick paced quarter with that 9-minute drive by the BC Lions, and then the Riders answering back themselves.
Yeah, it's encouraging to see, you know, the starters out there, a lot of the playmakers, and Nathan Rourke's first drive all the way down the field. They finished with a field goal. Same with Cody Fajardo on his second.
Final play of the quarter. Rourke looks downfield, has a ton of time, has a man wide open. It's Burnham, and he could not haul it in, and that'll bring up 2nd down for the Lions when we return with second quarter action here in Vancouver at BC Place. Both offenses showing some positive signs. We're tied after 1. Tied at 3 after the opening quarter, and one thing that stands out, that 8:42 of possession for the BC Lions, that came in one drive. That was a very nice drive that they put together.
Yeah, it finished with a field goal, so the Sask defense bent a little bit and then stepped up when they had to, and Nathan Rourke looked pretty good. Now I promise football fans across the country, as excited as I am about this story, and I think he's a bright young kid that's really going to be a big storyline throughout the year. I won't analyze every single throw, I promise you that. But one other good thing,
I don't believe you.
One other good thing about that first quarter that I thought was just 2 penalties. I mean, it went by really fast. And listen, if these guys coming out of training camp can be that disciplined, stay away from penalties, and we don't have a bunch of flags flying throughout the regular season, I think we'll all vote yes for that one.
Yeah, nobody's going to complain about that. 5 of 9 for Rourke for 50 yards. 2nd and 10 on his own 40 here. A little bit of pressure coming. Goes underneath, and that will be complete to Rhymes. Tries to stretch out, but they're going to be 2 or 3 yards short of the first down.
So Saskatchewan on defense. They've got some of those linebackers in the lineup tonight. We already mentioned Darnell Sankey, but we will see starting safety Mike Edom as well. On the corner, Nick Marshall. So you mentioned it earlier, but BC offense playing against most of the number 1s, although I don't think AC Leonard's here.
He is not. Adell takes it at the 15. Cuts it back, trying to kick it to the outside is Jeremiah Hidell. Good coverage downfield, though, and nothing really opened up. There's a flag out at the 45. Came in right at the tail end of the play.
Did I jinx it?
Yeah, I was going to say, we should have never said that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything.
During the return, holding Saskatchewan, number 78.
I'll say this.
Penalty, first down.
Take a look at the last 5 years under Coach Craig Dickinson and what Saskatchewan. I mean, this, I'm telling you right now, this is going to drive you nuts. mean,
those are his 2 years, right?
You're right there. And I asked Craig Dickinson, and I mentioned this a few days ago, but I asked him, what do you have to do overall from a big picture type of way to be better? He said, we got to be Winnipeg.
Which everybody is saying.
Everybody in the West is saying the same thing. Got to be Winnipeg.
But knowing the history between the Bombers and the Riders, obviously the Riders want to beat Winnipeg. Fajardo now looking down the field. Duke Williams! Oh, he can't haul it in. Dropped it in over his shoulder. Some help came defensively, and they were able to bat it away. TJ Lee coming over to help out there with Gary Peters.
Yeah, I like this move. I really do. TJ Lee has played pretty much every position in the secondary, but new defensive coordinator Ryan Phillips, who moved late in his career to the free safety spot, has put TJ Lee, who's a veteran of 7 years, all with the BC Lions. Now he's playing free safety. Able to make some plays from that spot.
He had 71 tackles last year, among the league leaders, 4 interceptions as well. Here's Fajardo. He's in trouble. Can he get out of it? He does. Cody Fajardo now takes off on the run outside the 20. He's got a first down, and that is what Cody Fajardo may do better than anybody else in this league.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I think if you looked across the league right now and you said to a lot of the media members, who would you pick as your #1 quarterback going into the season? You could pick anyone you want. Who do you pick? A lot of people would say Bo Levi Mitchell. He's the top guy, but a lot of people pick Cody Fajardo because of that dynamic, that he could take off and run.
Got to get a mention in there for Zach Collaros and back-to-back
no question.
Grey Cups as well.
No question he'd be up there.
But
we've already talked a lot about
yards.
Winnipeg in a Saskatchewan game, and I think fans fans back in Regina are going, okay.
Enough's enough. 4 yards for Morrow. Fajardo time, and threw that one inside a little bit. Was looking over in the direction of Evans, and Evans was covered nicely there by Delvin Breaux.
Yeah, this is a biggie. This is Delvin Breaux plays like Delvin Breaux. He's your shutdown guy. So basically, you're saying you take him, and the rest of us will play against 11.
That's nice, isn't it?
Because look at him. He takes away. He read the route. He basically ran the route for him.
A huge addition to this BC defense.
Straight cover guy. Lockdown corner.
This will be kicked away from just inside the 20. A high kick. Monte Crockett will slide over. Gets underneath it. Brings it up the sideline after a 46-yard kick. Return of about 6 or 7 yards. We are tied at 3 in Vancouver. Huge opportunity for that man, Nathan Rourke, this year. For more on that, let's send it down to Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, Dustin, I know Glenn said he's not going to talk about Nathan Rourke anymore. A, I don't believe him, and B, I'm just getting started. Because talking to Rick Campbell about him, and, you know, just the leap of faith he took, not because he was Canadian, but because he only had 3 appearances last year. He said, I had no doubt that he was going to have success because of how hard he prepared. He just loves the way the game has slowed down for him thus far and the added velocity. And I asked Nathan himself, that, look, you didn't have to compete for this job. You were anointed well into the offseason, and he said, I refuse to get complacent, because when he was at Ohio in 2018, the year after he had taken the starting job, the guy he beat out took the job from him again for a game before he got it back. So he knows you can't take anything for granted. And I asked him about the story about just, you know, being that Canadian face, and he says, yeah, that matters a lot to me, because I need to be able to show other youngsters playing amateur football in Canada that there is a pathway, that you can get this done, and that it's not impossible. He didn't have other Canadians necessarily to look up to. Larry Justanis, former quarterback at U Sports. He was an incredible quarterback back in the day. Had a cup of coffee in the NFL, but he coaches at Football North and really showed him the pathway to get it done, and he wants to do that for other quarterbacks. As far as being the face of this franchise is concerned, that part doesn't concern him a lot. He says, look, I'm just a facilitator here. We've got other great players. I want to get the ball to them, but he understands his place as a Canadian quarterback. And I said to him, you know what? You might be the second favorite quarterback for every other fan in this league. They're going to cheer for their own quarterback, and then they're going to cheer for you next. He said, you know what? I'll take it.
And he should, and they probably will.
And I will keep talking about him. Farhan's completely right there, because it is a great story. And I think about the kids playing amateur football that our quarterbacks right now in their flag leagues, and maybe they're 10 years old. And if Nathan Rourke gets off to a great start and does what we all think he can do, because, you know, I think Florian mentioned it, that he's had a great camp and they have great confidence in his abilities. So if he can execute it and transfer it to the game field and go through the highs and lows and be resilient when he hits the lows and have to fight back like he had to do back when he was with the Bobcats, like that play right there with an overthrow and a big hit he has to take, then there'll be a lot of kids looking at it going, why not me? Why can't I maybe get a chance to play pro football in my country? And honestly, for a long, long time, if you were a quarterback in amateur football, you didn't think that. You were thinking about
What
changing.
were you supposed to do? Play something else?
Yeah, you were thinking about changing positions when you got to high school.
2nd and 10 here for Rourke. He's hit. The ball bounces out, and it is scooped up by Sankey, and he hangs on in the Riders' defense with a turnover, and will give their offense the ball in a really nice spot. Less than 11 minutes to go here in the 2nd quarter. Here's another look at it. Rourke looked like he wanted to let it go, but good pressure there. And Sankey gobbles it up. Couple of guys making a big play, biggest of the game so far for the Riders defense.
That's Garrett Marino, who's going to get the forced fumble here. He's the interior defensive tackle. Just a great bull rush up the middle to get to Nathan Rourke, and you saw Sankey get the recovery, but
here's a completion to Schaefer Baker, and that'll be enough for a first down.
So Darnell Sankey, great pickup in the offseason. He gets the recovery. Marino's going to have a, you know, I think there's a guy in the interior that's going to be very tough for opposing teams to block up. And then Charleston Hughes. Now Charleston Hughes may be on a pitch count, maybe a guy that is, you know, situational. But there's an expert in his field. Charleston Hughes is an expert in his field. He's a pure pass rusher. And on 2nd downs, he can still wreak havoc at 38 years old.
1st and 10 after the first down for Schaefer Baker. Fajardo with some time comes along the near sideline, and that will be complete as he guns it in there for Evans.
Gary Peters in coverage. Another veteran for the BC Lions.
Just short of a first down. We're talking inches here. They're 4 for 7 on 2nd down so far in this first half.
I mentioned to our producer, Chris Edwards, that I'd like to see Garrett Marino coming out of break and Charleston Hughes as well. And here we go.
Side by side, deep shot down the field, and he does it. Duke Williams, get out of here. Big time catch. As Williams turns around, reaches out, and hauls it in. And the Riders strike a big shot from Cody Fajardo.
Yeah, we mentioned, we established in the first quarter that Duke Williams made the football team. Like, there was not a concern there. But this is going to be that same fade route he ran in the first quarter. They didn't connect that time, but they're going right back to it. Watch the catch at the top of the route. He turns back inside so that he can fight off his defender. And then it looked like with the one hand, spins back around. Great body control. Being grabbed. What a catch. Oh, did he make it? Did he make it? Did he make it, or did it hit the ground?
Yeah, I was going to say great effort, but did he pin it on his leg here after it hits the ground?
Hold on. Yeah, no, I think it hit the ground there. All scoring plays automatically reviewed, so they're in that process now. I don't think this is going to count.
Whether it counts or not.
I know.
Spectacular play.
He'll make a ton of them.
The previous play is an incomplete pass. Saskatchewan football.
You know who saw it first?
He's going to make a ton of them as the season goes on.
Edwards Cooper was right on top of him. Like, he looked over and he saw it right away. He started waving incomplete pass. So you're going to see a few of those from Duke Williams throughout the season, no doubt about it.
Just to finish that thought, though, I mentioned to Chris Edwards, our producer, can we see Garrett Marino? And he got us a shot of him. And so I also want to see Charleston Hughes. And just as that was happening, Charleston Hughes walked over to Garrett Marino. That's the veteran.
That's a vet.
He knows where the cameras are.
All right.
We're going to see a challenge here.
Challenge flag?
Well, it could be for pass interference. If he felt like there was some contact from Edwards Cooper.
Is that why Duke was making the catch with one arm.
hand. Was he holding back the other hand and not allowing him to reach across?
Saskatchewan is challenging the previous play for pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
Okay. Craig Dickinson firing right back here after having this overturned. Here's another look.
Well, now we're looking at it for something different than the catch, and it's the left hand on the shoulder pad. And did he not allow Duke Williams to reach with that right hand?
Certainly was a hand on the body.
Yeah, there was
maybe a little bit of a tug.
Well, the hand on the body is okay, and on the back is okay as well, but you can't do the tug part, and you can't hold the left
Did you
arm
see
down.
his right arm on the left hand?
You can't arm bar him down. This will be an interesting call from the command center, but
would that be what you think the determining factor is?
Yeah, the tug part, because you can ride your hand on the chest or back, but you can't pull them, and you can't arm bar.
I think that was the big one, right?
Yeah.
Using his arm to keep Williams' left arm from coming up. Let's get the call.
After review, we have pass interference. BC number 29 in goal. Ball will be placed at the 1 yard line. First down.
Good challenge for Craig Dickinson.
Yep. Yeah, when we watched the first play originally, we weren't thinking, oh, definitely a pass interference. So he saw something.
Yeah, we were all looking at it to see that this looked like a spectacular one-hand catch, and then reviewed that it bounced off the turf, and so that was the first thing that everyone's attention was on, including ours, and I think Fajardo's, and then that was ruled one way, and good challenge from Craig Dickinson. Put it on the 1 yard line.
Some points taken off the board, and the Riders now with an opportunity to put them right back on it and get this lead for the first time tonight. Fajardo keeps it, and he's in. Touchdown, Riders. Cody Fajardo finishing the job.
Great play on the play fake. This is just an outstanding play fake, and all those young quarterbacks we're talking about that are watching, watch Cody Fajardo execute the play fake on the run to draw the defender to go tackle the tailback who doesn't have the ball. If you're lazy with that play fake, this play doesn't work because you're contained. But look at the influence of the play fake to get him out and around the corner.
Saw Gary Peters waiting for him and then cut back in and found his way to the end zone.
That was Purefoy. Now, he may have had that assignment inside, but hit the post.
And this one is off and upright, and the score will remain 9-3. Riders on top by 6 here on the road after losing earlier in the week. Cody Fajardo doing what maybe he does best as he finds his way to the end zone. Don't miss the long-awaited fourth film in the groundbreaking Matrix franchise. Keanu Reeves stars in Matrix Resurrections, now streaming only on Crave. I haven't seen it yet.
You got some catching up to do.
I do.
Because you gotta get to Top Gun too.
I do. It's on the list of things to do here, maybe in the next 4 or 5 days.
Because I am dying to talk about it.
No spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on now. Arthur kicks this away. That'll be taken on the 16. And brought back close to the 30 by Bruce Anderson.
Of course, the Matrix is that great scene with the bullets flying by, and he's contorting his body. And who do you think of when you think of the Matrix? You think of that guy right there. Being able to contort his body in so many different ways and come up with that football. Just a human highlight reel that's
over 6,000 yards in the last 5 seasons.
And some of them just spectacular. I mean,
965 last year in the shortened season, so he would have been well over 1,000 once again.
get our ISO director sometimes to go and help us put these packs together and find, you know, exactly where the highlights are. You don't have to look far. You can go back to the final week of the season or the week before that or whatever it may be, and you'll find a big catch from number 16.
He's been doing it for a long time, and he's been doing it very well for that entire stretch. And once again, we talked about it with Rourke. You've got a guy like Brian Burnham, and then he nicks in Lucky Whitehead. We went to Javon Cotoy a lot earlier in this game. Now Rourke's going to look down the field, and that's going to be complete to Rhymes, who's another one of these guys that people are really excited about.
Yeah, he had an ankle last year, so he only played in 8 games, but Dominic Rhymes is the trailer back here in this formation to the wide field, but watch at the top of the route when he comes back, takes an extra step back and reaches back for it. That gets him just the separation he needs for the 18-yard catch.
So the one step in the reach.
That reach
enough,
back
yeah.
was how he kept the defender behind him.
18 yards. Rourke to Rhymes. Flags here. Rourke. Whitehead, and Whitehead will hang on with those flags sitting on the field.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 39. It's 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Garrett Marino will be part of that interior defensive line. Charleston Hughes on the edge. A.C. Leonard, who's back in Saskatchewan, on the other side. A.C. Leonard is, I think, poised to have sort of the Willie Jefferson type of year. Very similar athletes. I'm not sure there's anyone that really compares to Willie Jefferson, but if there's anyone close, it's A.C. Leonard.
He led the league in sacks last year with 11, and you're thinking there's even more there.
I think there's more there. I think he can push the 20 mark.
And when you have one guy like that, it helps everybody else be a little bit better too, doesn't it?
Well, when you have 39 and one edge, they're going to take the fullback or the extra block over to Charleston Hughes, and that leaves you on the backside if you're A.C. Leonard in a one-on-one.
1st and 5 in midfield for Rourke. A little bit of a high snap, went up and got it, still has it, and now we'll throw it to the sideline, and that one does fall incomplete. He was looking for Keon Hatcher.
Jason Shivers, the defensive coordinator for Saskatchewan. He's got some options here. I mean, he's got some outstanding linebackers all of a sudden with Larry Dean back from his injury, Darnell Sankey in free agency, Micah Tights, and Derek Moncrief. I mean, that is a stud group to a point, and I mentioned a couple days ago that you could go a 30 front with 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers, and with the change in the hash, maybe that's the way some other teams will go. It gives him an option.
Nice to have the option due to the personnel that you have brought in. Here's Rourke in trouble, can't get away, and that is Darnell Sankey making a pretty big impression. Sacked there, recovered a fumble earlier in the game here as he settles in with his new club.
Yeah, and all reports from training camp for Darnell Sankey was not only is he the guy that we saw in Calgary between the tackles, when we see him right there, but apparently he did a real good job in camp of covering receivers and running backs out of the backfield.
Ball bounces. Haydel will pick it up inside the 20. Picks his way back just over the 20. Cody Fajardo. For more on him, let's send it down to Farhan Lalji.
Well, guys, talking to Craig Dickinson about Fajardo, he really has marveled at his consistency so far in training camp. He says that he's playing so much faster, processing the game faster, getting the ball out quicker, and that's really meant a lot. He's also understanding Jason Moss a little bit better. Having a second year under his belt with Moss, the two of them know what each other's strengths are, what the other guy is looking for. And he said, don't minimize having Duke Williams here in training camp. That's been a big difference. Whenever he puts the ball up, Duke generally has been able to come down with it. You've seen them take a couple of shots already in this game. And then I also asked him about some of the stuff he went through a year ago where the fans got on him a little bit and he was on social media a bit too much and it affected him. He says, don't minimize the fact that he and his wife are going to have their first child. It's really put him in a different headspace right now. He prioritizes better. He understands what's more important, and as a result, he thinks he's going to be able to just have a thicker skin because he knows more important things are waiting for him at home.
Yeah, listen, you're the starting quarterback in Saskatchewan, and with social media these days, you're going to hear about it. And I think he managed it eventually he managed it quite well.
Mason Fine in the game now. Fajardo 6 of 12 for 64 yards and that touchdown on the ground. There's a flag at the end of this play as Fine got it to Shaq Cooper.
But one of the things that, you know, Cody was talking about last year was through that time.
4 yards per gain. Holding. Saskatchewan. Number 1. It's 10-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
You know, through that time of the social media issues and things like that, where he got involved and he took some criticism and he fired back, and you know, he also doesn't want to shut that down because, you know, he is ideal in a lot of ways for the starting quarterback in this city, in Saskatchewan, because he is engaged with the fan base and he does want social media to help, you know, people that need it. Whether you're a kid that's in a hospital bed watching the game on TV, he wants to help those kids through social media. So it's a balancing act, but he does have that great new perspective, and the priorities are family first, always with Cody, and team first, and he's going to have a big year.
This guy is expected to be his backup. Fine moves it ahead on this play, but not enough. Fine was a 13 of 18 for 114 yards. Touchdown and an interception on Tuesday, 72.2%. Quick turnaround for the guys who did play on Tuesday to be out here again on a Friday night.
Well, hey, we hear all the time when you talk to coaches and football players and say, especially when you lose a game, and you say, I'd play tomorrow if we could go after him again tomorrow.
What was your quickest turnaround? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Ever do a 3-dayer?
Oh.
A little bit of a bobble, but they still get it away. And it'll come down to Crockett. 54-yard kick. Flag as Crockett turns it up the near sideline, lunges over a defender, and then eventually falls around the 45.
Some nerves in the preseason, maybe, and Vedvik, who
During the return,
takes
holding.
over, or
BC, number 2.
is at least penciled in at this point to take over for John Ryan.
Led the league in punt average last year, did Vedvik.
A global player.
Sorry, that's Flintoff on the other side. Flintoff, 48.3 yards. He was first in the league last year.
Oh, Vedvik's got a big leg.
Yeah, well, we just saw it, and that was a good kick.
I mean, a lot of sort of discussions on the John Ryan and the global player and all of that kind of thing, and still a great ambassador in Saskatchewan, and what a football career John Ryan had, not only in the CFL but also with the Seahawks in the NFL.
BC on their own 21. Rourke fakes the handoff, now rolls to his right. Comes underneath to Rhymes, who may not have got back to the line of scrimmage.
Start thinking about
Riders with a lead, 9-3 on the road.
It's preseason, so we're gonna let Davis do whatever he wants.
Oh, goodness.
That's not creepy at all. Like Lord of the Rings.
Oh my God.
Halftime coming up right here on TSN. Break down the first half of this game. Rourke over the top, looking for the one-handed catch there to his running back, James Butler. And now a flag here, right at the end. And
late, and that'll be another one.
Pushing and shoving.
Now there's a new rule this year.
Yes.
That if you get a penalty for pushing and shoving after the whistle, these type of that don't look good on the game, that continue the game, that lengthen the game. If you get 2 of those, you're out automatically.
CJ Rivas is down on the field, along with about 4 flags as they'll try to sort this out. Here's a good wide look at it.
Yeah, Rivas wasn't in the pass rush there. There's the punch. There's no question that's a penalty from Philip Norman.
Norman went up and went at Lanier there as well. And then DeMarcus Christmas came rolling in. It does look like Phil Norman started that. And Rivas is now up, slowly limping off the field, so that's a good sign. As you saw him go down at the 30 there.
Yeah, I actually pointed out the wrong guy, and there goes Norman to the room. It's good that he's walking off, because
yeah, it looked like it could have been pretty serious.
well, he dropped into
down
that
like
pat.
that.
Yeah, he dropped almost like he was on his own there.
He'll head over to the sideline, and the Lions will be kicking this ball away. That'd be pretty good field position here for the Riders with 2:47 on the clock in the second quarter. Rivas to the table.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Disqualification, BC number 90. Misconduct penalty, Saskatchewan. The result of the play will be 10 yards back, second down.
So that's the last we'll see of Phil
The misconduct
Norman.
penalty is on Saskatchewan 91. Saskatchewan 91.
Well, they set disqualification to 90, if I heard correctly,
Third down. Third down.
for BC, and it was
that had to have been.
it was 50
Yeah.
Norman that left.
As a guy who
the
mixes
field.
up numbers every once in a while,
Yeah,
I can see the officials
hey,
doing the
it's,
same there.
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
It's okay when they've got double up numbers.
There's a few again here tonight. We're trying to stay on top of our game.
Well, it looks like Rivas is okay. That's important, and Norman's going to get an early shower.
Jonathan Johnson waits for this ball just on the Lions side of the field. That'll come down midfield. Johnson trying to kick this to the outside, and he gets a few yards before he steps out of bounds. 2.5 minutes away from halftime with this crew.
Well, hang on a sec. We got to fix this up. Hang on. Gotta get that going there. I'll fix that.
That's the new beard.
Yeah, there's the mustache. There we go.
Well, we'll just say this. It's a look.
There we go.
It's a look. It's something.
Yeah, there we go. That's, you know, just trying to update the photo.
Saw Matt a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know whether to give him a hug or ask to sit on his knee and tell him what I want for Christmas this year. 3 receivers to the right here for Fine. Gets it away. I don't know if that hits something as it came out of his hand, but it falls short and incomplete, and it'll bring up second down.
Yeah, it does. It did look like it changed directions. It actually was a blitz coming from Luchez Purefoy, who, again, returns to the BC Lions, but he was a former Saskatchewan Roughrider as well, and boy, does he have some fancy kicks on. But he came off the edge there and was blocked up really nicely on that blitz pickup by Shaq Cooper, and it did give so, but you saw it change direction coming out of his hand. Look at those shoes. You're fast just putting those on.
Here's Fine to the left, has a completion, and that'll be pushed ahead. Good second effort from Tevin Jones, who started the game on Tuesday with a fumble, but then settled in nicely, and now he gets involved here with 11 yards. We work our way through the game. We'll see a few of these guys as we work our way down the depth chart with the big rosters for this game. Final preseason game on the schedule. Things get started on Thursday. And that is blocked and knocked away, and you'll have to get used to seeing that again as Boom Guacham gets home right in the face of Fine.
Yeah, another one of the guys that is now in his second year. He's mature player at 31 because of his history through the other league, and finally finding his way to the Canadian Football League, but had a good year when the expectations coming out of camp were huge for him. Like, they just couldn't be blocked in camp, and then it was a good year, don't get me wrong.
4 sacks.
But year 2, now you expect big things.
6'5", 250. This one is batted down as well. And that was Williams coming in from his middle linebacker spot and making the play.
There's your outstanding rookie in the Canadian Football League.
What
we
a
haven't
season.
mentioned him yet, but now is a good chance to do it because he made the play and got our attention again. I mean, you take a look at his season from last year, a first-round pick, 92 defensive tackles.
And he'll be forced to stay on the field here. 3rd and 10. And the Riders will go for it from the BC 42. Mason Fine in at quarterback here. Fajardo sitting down for the rest of the night. Fine waits, sends a shot down the field. There's a flag on the play. Looked like a PI. And this might keep the drive alive.
The Tennille Cooper on the corner route.
They're going for Picton.
Pass interference, BC, number 24. Ball we placed at the spot of the foul, 1st down.
Looked like Picton tried to get around him there, and Cooper held him up ever so slightly.
I'm going to make one more point about the hash marks moving in after this play, because that was a combination route in the short side that I think is going to be one you see a lot of.
5 penalties for 96 yards for the Lions. Now they're going to hand it off to Cooper, and it's a short pickup.
So let me show you what I mean by this. Well, this is actually to the field, but if you put it into the boundary and you do this same type of route, what used to happen in the short side of the field was this corner was able to cheat underneath that corner route. But now with the hash marks moved in, again, this is wide field, but even if it's into the boundary now, that corner can no longer cheat. He's got a longer way to go.
Cover his guy. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that corner route should be available more often.
Just over 90 seconds remaining in the half. Fine with some time towards the end zone, and that is broken up. Last second Picton, and Picton calling for a flag. Doesn't look like he's going to get it. It was back Picton and Tennille Cooper once again.
Yeah, same combination. Picton this time is not going corner. He's going back into the middle, and 24 Cooper, the same coverage. But this time the ball arrives. He doesn't grab him. He's patient. Nice speed turn there to get back on the hip of Picton and then time it up so he can knock it down as the ball arrives.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 8. Lother out to clean this drive up from the right hash. And he puts it through. And the Riders' lead grows. They now sit on top here on the road, 12-3 in Vancouver.
Brett Lowther, one of the CFL PA reps for his team, and boy, it was a busy couple of months for those guys. Try and keep their concentration and keep training, keep working out for camp and getting ready, and also have to inform the entire team on all the changes and the evolution of the new deal.
I just look at it from the perspective of, one side saying one thing, another side saying another thing. Everybody's frustrated, but the bottom line is deal got done.
Yes.
And regular season begins on time next Thursday,
yes,
which is what the end goal was.
Yes, right? And it's a 7-year deal, which means we don't talk about this again for 7 years.
Rourke, 1st down as he got it into the hands of Catoy. That's Catoy's 4th catch of this ball game.
And you wonder if you'll see any more of Nathan Rourke in the second half once they go in and change him. We may see Michael O'Connor come back out. Antonio Pipkin just signed with the Lions after injury situation their first game, so not sure if Pipkin will have all the offense down just yet.
From their 51, a lot of time, and Rourke would look downfield and decides to take what he had and found Keon Hatcher, and Hatcher's going to be about a yard shy of another 1st down with 66 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, still time to push the ball and getting up on the line of scrimmage.
Rourke slides under center, pushing ahead. Flags fly as that ball is snapped. Got close to where he needed to be, but see a couple of flags there. Rourke is 10 of 16 for 95 yards here in the opening half. Had that almost 9-minute drive in the first quarter.
Yeah, a lot to like about his first half as the guy. And I know it's still preseason.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that a little bit because we talked about him a lot.
Saskatchewan, number 26, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
But for him, this offseason knowing that he's the guy, as opposed to last year.
Yep.
You know, Canadian quarterback backing up Michael Riley. Had to have been such a different offseason for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, different pressure that you have to learn how to manage. And, you know, again, it's a small sample size. I think Brian Burnham was offside there.
Yeah, he definitely jumped. Whitehead would have had enough for a first down, but it does look like Burnham over to the right of Rourke was ahead of the play.
But yeah, I mean, he's
Okay.
my only.
Offside. BC, number 19. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I'm going to say it was Rhymes.
But you know what I like? You know what I like about this short sample size, small sample size in this first half with Nathan Rourke is that he looks like he's running the offense. I mean, he's not looking to one receiver and then running. He's running the offense. He's reading the defense. Sometimes he'll take that dump pass or the little push to the flat kind of route. Be patient.
Here he is again with some time. Dumps it off underneath. Butler can't stay on his feet. He is spun down and wrapped up by Sankey.
This is going to be a good linebacking group. I mean, Darnell Sankey, Larry Dean, Micah Tights, and Derek Moncrief.
Yeah, Sankey had an unbelievable season last year. Rourke with 3 receivers to his right. Now he's going to look down the field. A deep shot looking for Rhymes, and he's got him. Rhymes holds it in. Falls down on the 2. And the BC Lions in business late.
Dominic Grimes on the outside, and you know, I like his veteran move. He gets press coverage and just gonna beat the line of scrimmage. You got to win the route at the line of scrimmage there, get the hands down of that DB, and then get down the field and don't declare the ball's about to arrive until the last second.
First and goal from the 2 for Rourke. Looks to the left, looks to the corner, and he's got him. It's Burnham. Touchdown BC. Brian Burnham, his first catch of the game, goes for a major.
So in that first half, you see a little patience from Nathan Rourke. See the completion on the deep ball. He's got a nice arm to get it down to the outside, to the wide side to Dominic Rhymes. And then how about the precision on the corner route to Brian Burnham. Look off, pull the safety, don't let the safety get involved.
Nice separation there by Burnham, too. That was not contested by the time it got to him. 7-play, 70-yard drive. Sean White out to make it a 2-point game. And he hammers this thing right down the middle. And a lot of momentum here. If we don't see Rourke in the second half, that's a nice way to head into the regular season.
No question. Yeah, mission accomplished. If that's it for him tonight, mission accomplished. Here's his last 2 throws of the final preseason game in the CFL. Dominic Rhymes down the rail. Beautiful throw, dropped right in the bucket there, and then the precision corner route with on time and looking off safety Mike Edam. He gets it over to 16.
Rourke is 13 of 19 for 145 yards and a touchdown. 4 catches from Rhymes, 4 catches from Catoy, 1 from Whitehead, 1 from Hatcher, 1 from Butler, 1 from Burnham. So he's moved the ball around like you mentioned. He looks comfortable
running
in
the
his offense.
He's running the offense, and that's important. That in preseason especially, you know, show the coaching staff that they've made the right decision. They're going to go with you, and you can run the offense, be patient. Sometimes that dump pass that gets 5 or 6 yards on first down is crucial.
He did that a couple times,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Flintoff to kick it away. 26 seconds on the clock here in the first half.
And I emphasize it because a young quarterback wants to throw a touchdown on every play. They have to fight against that mentally.
Here's Pope for the Riders. Takes it out past the 30, and that's where they will get the ball with 20 seconds now on the clock for this Riders offense.
But forget about passport and all that, but the one thing that you have to have is you have to have the guys around you believe.
in you. That's it. If that doesn't happen, nothing matters.
Those guys have got to believe in him. And by all accounts, coming out of camp, they believe in Nathan Rourke, number 12.
Well, listening to the pregame there with the panel, there's going to be an interesting discussion about Rourke, I think, coming up at halftime. So make sure you don't go anywhere on that one. Like we said, a surprise starter in game 1 last year against these Riders, with Michael Riley being unable to play.
Yeah, little different atmosphere though. I mean,
yeah,
you're a young kid, your first year backing up Michael Riley, and
here's the spotlight, kid.
Yeah, and you're told just before, hey, it's Mosaic Stadium, it's jam packed, they're going nuts in there, and you're starting.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Hey, he survived. No doubt about it. He's ready for the prime time this year. Rourke and the Lions trailing 12-10 here at BC Place in Vancouver. Let's send it back to Kate and the panel. BC Lions trailing the Riders 12-10 at halftime. Yvonne Catoy, 41 yards. He's with our Farhan Lalji.
Javon, a nice finish for the offense there, but a nice start for you as well on that first drive. Just talk about your confidence and your role now as a starter.
My confidence has increased significantly. This is year 3 for me, so I'm getting a lot more comfortable. The coaches have a lot more trust in me, so I'm building that confidence every day. You said it was a good start, but I felt like the offense left a lot out there on the field. It's just unfortunate that we have a lot of guys on the team, so we have to play everyone throughout the entire game.
How about just how everybody's feeling about Nathan, a young quarterback, young player like yourself? How much belief is there in him?
Sorry?
Just the overall belief you guys have in Nathan.
Yeah, no doubt. Ever since Mike retired, BC as a whole, the whole organization put a lot of trust and faith in Nate. I have like a little nickname from it's Faith in Nate, you know what I mean? And I'm just looking forward for the next couple of years to just see how much we can grow as a unit, having Nate under center and just leading our team to a victorious season.
Thanks for this, Javon.
Appreciate it.
Nice first half for Nathan Rourke, who was talked about there by Catoy. Rourke was 13 of 19 for 145 yards and a touchdown. Now we see Michael O'Connor get an opportunity.
UBC, Michael O'Connor, Calgary Stampeders last year, real close to getting that start. Him and Jake Mayer, remember when Bo went down? And
that leading into that week, everybody's thinking it might be this guy.
Dave Dickinson was saying, hey, they both look good in practice, and they went with Jake, and he really put on a show. But this guy's very capable.
O'Connor wearing number 11 for the BC Lions. Throws one into the hands of the intended target, Scarfone, but he could not haul it in. As we see the BC Lions move to some of the guys still battling for jobs on this team at the receiver position, something to keep tabs on in this second half.
Yeah, my guess is we'll see Michael O'Connor the rest of the second half because Antonio Pipkin is here, but I think one practice for Pipkin being released.
Would have been an interesting storyline to have a player play 2 preseason games with different teams. O'Connor hammered from behind. Somehow he held on to the ball, but he got absolutely popped by Nick Daly.
Yeah, this was a blindside hit from the backside by Daly, and let's just see in his one-on-one with Jarrell Broxton. Look at Michael O'Connor, no chance. Clean hit from behind. Big play by Daly up front.
A couple of Canada West guys there, Daly and O'Connor.
That's great.
I know it's just one play, but that's a big play.
Yeah, U of R, man. I mean, this is a hometown kid. Saskatchewan's going crazy for him right now. That's great. And then Cody Fajardo and your starting quarterback walks up. And Jason Shivers goes right to the coach him up. Hey, good play, but keep your eyes up and go for the ball. If you see the ball might come out, so, you know.
Everybody else praising him. A coach is a coach, right?
Coach is always a coach.
Just reach around there and knock that ball loose. He hit him hard, though. Good job by O'Connor to hang on to that football.
And good hair. Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's what we call sick flow suits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a thing.
Yeah. Not for you and I.
No, no. I don't think my hair is, not capable of that. Towering kick here. Flintoff, that'll be taken by Pope just inside his own 40. Never really had a chance to get going after a 54-yard kick from Flintoff.
Well, the organization, Jeremy O'Day.
That's for you, dog.
Jeremy O'Day and Craig Dickinson with the Riders, they've said going into every draft they've been together that if everything is equal, they're going with the hometown kid, and they're going to bring in guys, whether it's free agency or through the draft, that know what it means to be a Saskatchewan Roughrider or dreaming of it when you're a young kid in U Sports coming up, either U of R or U of S. And how important it is, and you get that little extra jump, don't you, when it's
a little fired up when it's that team,
guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Mason Fine with some time has a man that's complete, and that'll be enough for a first down as he gets it to Jonathan Johnson. Johnson's had some return responsibility here over the last couple of games, and now he gets a chance in the offense.
Yeah, he was our guy. He was our guy with the double number that we
on Tuesday.
Yeah. A nice little move in the open field, though.
14-yard pickup. There's an injured rider down on the field, back around the 45. It's Noah Johnson out of Kansas State. 24-year-old in a little bit of pain. And as they get a look at him, we'll step aside. Riders on top, 12-10. Celtics host the Warriors in Game 3 of the series. Don't miss the action Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, only on TSN. Celtics, they come from behind win in Game 1, 40 points in the fourth quarter last night.
Noah Johnson's got a knee issue. It was friendly fire from Cooper Richardson that rolled into him.
Little to no weight on that left leg as he came off the field. First and 10 for Fine on the 53. They'll dump it off to Awachi. Got back to the line of scrimmage, but really no further.
Went back third of the year last year and beat out Isaac Harker. Get the number 2 job, dressed for both playoff games for the Riders, and slowly worked his way into that backup role. I'm just wondering if we see Jake Dalagala in this fourth quarter. This is the last preseason game in the CFL schedule.
Got to look at him on Tuesday as well.
Yep,
They both played in that
arm.
game. Big guy, big arm, Fine. Settles in at 5'11", 190. Scrambles out of the pocket here. He's getting pressured, in trouble. Stepping back, he throws one up, and luckily for him, it falls incomplete. That was trouble, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. In the degree of difficulty department, that is very difficult, and that was Nathan Cherry, and I think Nathan Cherry is the guy that's in chase here, and he is. It gets him in trouble here. I just heard a story coming in about Nathan Cherry, of course, U of S grad, who apparently in training camp, the offensive line were asked by Julio Caravetta, who calls radio here in Vancouver, former Canadian quarterback, and he went and asked all the old linemen in BC in the one-on-one drills and everything. He said, who's the toughest defensive lineman that you've been blocking in camp? And they all said Cherry. Said, we can't block this kid named Cherry.
I guess that's why you go third overall in the draft. This ball will trickle all the way out of bounds, just inside the 5. Nathan Cherry, first team All-Canadian 2021. BC Lions 2022 draft. We were just talking about the guy right at the top, third overall pick, Nathan Cherry. For more on him, let's send it down to Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, guys, most teams did have Cherry rated in the top round, but lower in the round. I know there were some eyebrows raised when he got taken as high as third. The Lions, for their part, were really intrigued by Cherry's athleticism, but there were some concerns league-wide as to whether or not his size would translate to the next level. He was seen as an interior player. He's listed at 245 still. I asked him before the game. He said, no. I'm closer to 270 right now. Even he himself has been surprised at how fast that's been able to translate, and his first step has worked as well as it did in U Sports against professional players right now. One thing that also surprised him, that he did not get asked to play last week in Calgary, because that's where all the young guys came. The fact that he didn't get asked to go to that game was an indication that he was a slam dunk at that point. He'd shown enough to make the team. He was so convinced he'd have to go to that game, his parents actually bought plane tickets. They were going to Calgary for the game, and he said, sorry, Mom and Dad, I'm not going to be there this time, but he's made a big impression. They believe he's going to be able to rotate in that interior defensive line immediately, especially with Stove Richardson not available this year and Woody Barron still not due to arrive until later this month.
And that's a big bump up from 245 to 270.
Yeah, and that's just, again, U of S program, Scott Flory, and just one of the top programs in the country, and how U Sports continue to develop pro-ready players. Sometimes you play college football and that's the end, and you don't have a desire to go on to pro football, but for a lot of the guys like Cherry, they do want to give it a shot and see if they can make the team. And I can't express how good that would feel early in camp to hear from your coach, don't worry, you've made the team. You don't have to come to this game. Start working on your weaknesses. Start working on all aspects of your game. Don't worry about how it looks, because you've made the team and you're going to play. That's
changes your mindset immediately from that moment on, right?
You stop going to your go-to moves and things like that in one-on-one drills, and you start to think, okay, now I can work on, whatever it might be in your footwork or your fundamentals. But to hear that early in camp is really impressive. But I loved how Julio also mentioned to me that, they couldn't block him, and they were honest about that. And I thought, good for him, U of S kid getting her done here in BC.
Born in Saskatoon, played at U of S, and here he is playing against the Riders and making the play that he did last time out on the field. Here's O'Connor trying to toss it in there and could not come up with it. It was Jazz Ferguson who tried to go low and get his hands on it. And that'll bring up 3rd and 7.
It was Nelson Lacombo that made that play defensively, was it not? That came up for Saskatchewan, and again, one of those guys that was in the freak accidents and injuries last year. Larry Dean and Lacombo as well, and great to see him looking great coming out of his back pedal and breaking on the ball like that. Almost had a pick there.
Another high pick.
Again, pro-ready guys. Again, U of S.
Coming out of the U of S. Ended up dropping the Vanier to Western. Kick taken just inside the 40 by Pope after a 54-yard kick, trying to stay on his feet, trying to use his hand to keep him up, but eventually he did end up going down. So Lacombo getting involved here. Pretty high expectations for this kid in Regina for sure. His team on top, 12-10 right now. We took a look at the BC Lions 2022 CFL draft, and now here's a look at what the Riders managed to accomplish.
Pretty excited to look at this guy, Samuel MLS, who's a pretty good preseason game a few days ago against Winnipeg. A couple of nice catches there. Looked smooth route runner. Showed confidence beyond his years in a couple of plays where he got the ball in his hands, but that competition with Kean Schaefer-Baker, Mitch Picton, and Justin McInnes, 2 of those guys are going to start in the offense. Maybe this guy's a rotation player.
That's a good competition brewing here with some of the talent that they've got at Canadian receiver. There's a completion on the far side of the field.
And Cambridge, Ontario, again, Louisiana Tech, I should say, but this is a guy who, when I take a look at that route runner, that's precision route run to get to the out, chop his feet, and come out of that break smooth, and then watch the confidence here, a little hop step, try and make an inside move against 2 defenders, and again, the U Sports are coming out pro ready more and more.
Bolagala now in the game at quarterback, and he lunges ahead with that 6'7" frame. And moves the ball out to about the BC 45. We saw this guy on Tuesday as well. He went 6 of 10 for 60 yards, had a touchdown and an interception out of Central Connecticut.
The coaching staff know really the answer to the question. Is it Mason Fine, or could Dolegala still work his way into it. And remember, it's the option, new rule this year again, it's the option of coaches to dress a third if they want.
A flag here. Dolegala throws that ball into open space. Like a little miscommunication with his intended target. Jesteruia.
I think we're all sort of assuming that Mason Fine is going to be number 2.
But just the way they've rolled them out here so far.
Exactly.
Right?
And it appears from the outside looking in, those are the only guys who truly know, Jason Moss and Craig Dickinson, what direction they want to go. And who knows what a quarter, and I always tell the story, but Michael Riley, former BC Lion, and by the way, thank you to Michael Riley for his great career and all the great moments that we had watching him do his thing as a BC Lion and Edmonton Eskimo at that time.
Yep.
But, you know, Michael Riley had one drive in the preseason to make the football team. He went down and scored, and that's how he made the football team.
And that was it.
BC Lions, that one drive, and he made the team. So you never know what can happen. I'm not suggesting anyone's taking away a starting job. Been misquoted on that before from Cody Fajardo, but you never know. Dolegala has a good fourth quarter and does some magical things. Maybe he can work his way into that number 2 spot. But we'll see.
Spent the entire 2019 season on the Bengals active roster.
Misconduct penalty, BC, number 99. Offside, Saskatchewan, number 87. Play results in a first down.
So Wheel was offside. Miles Fox on BC also flagged on that play. We had a touchdown in Regina on Tuesday.
Miles Fox can't get another one of those now.
One more, he's done.
Yep, it's automatic. New rule.
Dolegala hands it off. Frankie Hickson into the game now. And Hickson has shown some burst from what we've seen from him on Tuesday and now here tonight.
Yeah, interesting competition there as well. I mean, Shaq Cooper got some CFL experience, BC and Edmonton, but Frankie Hickson looked good in a couple runs a couple days ago against the Bombers, and Jamal Morrow is sort of their, you know, he's the guy that I think everyone expected. Yeah, the guy that everyone expected would take William Powell's spot.
That's Hickson, number 20 now. He's going to slide back over next to his quarterback. He had 6 carries for 47 yards on Tuesday. He's going to get a catch here. Brought it in. It's going to be a first down. And it was Josh Thornton who was stalking him a little bit there, waiting for him.
He was going to say that looked like a collision waiting to happen there. He's going out to the flat. Outside, and there's Jamal Morrow watching on thinking, wow, he dodged one there because that was going to be a massive hit.
Dolegala gets it into the hands of Picton. And Picton will pick up a short gain on first down.
All-time leader at Liberty in all-purpose yards, and in that preseason game versus the Bombers, he picked up his blocking assignments well. Nice block there. Good run up the middle, protecting the football as well when contact was about to arrive. Some good vision and making guys miss.
That game on Tuesday was his first game in 892 days, I think is the number that we were told. 2nd and 6 here for Dolegala. Gets it away just in time. Down the field, it's intercepted. Picked off just before that ball entered the end zone, and it'll be brought back the other way. Quincy Moget sliding underneath it, creating the turnover. A flag at the end of the play. Quincy Moget sliding underneath, picking it off. The Lions defense coming up big. Quincy Moget getting the ball back for the BC Lions offense. A big part of that offense today was Nathan Rourke, and he is now with Farham.
Yeah, with Lucky Whitehead lurking in the background. Nathan, let's first talk about your half and just how you felt about it. Obviously, a nice way to finish it. Don't let him make you nervous.
No, he's going to throw me off, though. No, I thought it was good. I thought we did some good things. I thought our first drive was good. Be able to put... Oh. Happy birthday, Lucky. We did some good things. I thought we put a drive together, which was good, and I like the way we finished. We got some things to clean up there in the middle, but it was a solid start, things to build on.
Take me through training camp, because talking to some of the other offensive players and Coach Campbell as well, they really felt like the game has slowed down for you quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I had fun out there. It's blast when you're not worrying about what the read is or what the drop is. It's a lot more fun to just kind of go out there and play, and so it's a work in progress, but I had a lot of fun out there.
I told you earlier when we were talking that you're probably going to be the second favorite quarterback for every fan in the CFL because you're Canadian.
Yeah.
A lot of expectations. What expectations do you have for yourself?
Yeah, I expect myself to get better every single week. You know, I want to be able to put out a better product each week and be able to learn from the mistakes. And today was no different. You know, there's mistakes out there that I made that I don't expect to make in Edmonton come week 1. So that's what I expect from myself, and I think that's going to take care of things. We got enough playmakers on this team to be able to take me where we need to go.
Nathan, thanks for this and good luck this season.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
And happy birthday, Lucky Whitehead.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 96. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
I double checked on it. According to his profile, he turned 30 yesterday.
Okay.
There's plenty of time for that.
Happy belated birthday, Lucky. You got a little TV time there, but how about those answers? Nathan Rourke? I mean, that's what you want to hear. I got to work on my mistakes. I got to get better every day, and that's my expectation. He knows and understands the Canadian angle. He knows that, but he's focused on the right things.
1st and 5 after a flag. O'Connor to his right, sliding down. And a flag right at the end of the play. And A.J. Hendy not happy with it.
Now, the mandate from the league has been for quarterbacks to get down earlier. And if you're going to hook slide, especially feet first hook slide, that you've got to get down in lots of time. So I think that's what Hendy, he would have got that memo as well.
Get another look at it. Look at the timing of the slide.
Roughing the passer, Saskatchewan, number 35. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, the other thing about this hit in particular is A.J. Hendy kind of led with the forearm.
So it's more the hit than the timing issue on this one, is what you're thinking?
Yeah, the timing was close, but I think he got the flag with that forearm and flipper coming down. I mean, if he tried to deliberately avoid the contact, maybe he gets the call.
There's going to be another flag. 90 penalties, or 90 yards on 10 penalties for the Riders so far.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 99. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Jumping this time.
A good staggered count there from Michael O'Connor to try and get them jumping on the snap. Now, often those offsides are created by the quarterback calling the signals. Well,
1st and 5 now, just on the Riders' side of the field. Ball placed on the 54. 3.5 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Final preseason action in the CFL as we get ready for kickoff of the regular season on Thursday. And this ball is handed off, but nowhere to go for Bruce Anderson.
Yeah, necessary evil, really. You know, the preseason is always tough. When you're a rookie, you love it because it's your opportunity to make something happen and maybe make a football team. But if you're a veteran, you're just trying to get through it without getting nicked. And, you know, just show the coaches, hey, I'm the same guy I was last year. You've seen on film.
I'm in shape.
Yeah, I'm in shape.
I have the same abilities.
You know, the scores really don't matter, although everyone's always trying to win no matter what. But
3 options to the left here for O'Connor. He's going to look to the right, and he's going to look down the field, up for grabs. And is that picked off? It is. A nice job sliding in under the receiver. There is a flag on the play here as well, as Amari Henderson got his hands on that ball for the Riders, but O'Connor's saying it's going that way.
Illegal contact, Saskatchewan, number 72. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Six penalties in this half for the Riders. This one takes away a huge play. And a nice play as well.
Yeah. We only had 2 penalties in the first quarter, and I mentioned it, and then it went sideways from there.
I don't want to say anything, but
Yeah.
it is 100% your fault.
Yeah.
Here's O'Connor now. Penalty aided drive for sure. They'll get this one to Anderson. Anderson with a burst down the sideline and a big pickup there for Bruce Anderson, who had some time returning in Edmonton and now trying to find a spot in this backfield here in Vancouver.
Yeah, a little burst there. Like that. Burst up, got the ball in his hand, secured the catch first, and then hit a new gear, turning that corner.
3 games with Edmonton last year. I think he was mostly on punt return. But you can tell he's got the speed, right?
Yeah, good speed to the outside.
Stands into the right of his quarterback here. 1st and 10 on the Rider 24 for O'Connor. Gets those feet moving quick. Sends one towards the end zone. Wide open. He's got a man. And that's a touchdown. Josh Pearson waited for that ball. And O'Connor delivered. Lions on top.
The all-Canadian quarterback duel. Nice play and throw on the run from Michael O'Connor. Got blitz up the middle. Avoided that by just buying time outside and then on the run. Gets it out there in the corner route. Nice touchdown throw.
Pearson was open for quite some time. They're waiting for that ball to drop in. Pearson out of Jacksonville State. 6'4", 205. Actually has a Super Bowl ring. He was on the Bucs roster where they won it. Now he's got a touchdown here in the Canadian Football League, trying to earn a job on this BC Lions team.
Yeah, Josh Pearson, you know, you mentioned his size, 6'4". The Lions have brought in a few receivers at that size, and he's going to end up running this corner route. Does open up. I'm not sure if it was a complete bust by the Riders secondary. Let's go ahead and roll it here, and here comes that corner route. See, Hendy jumped the out route. Looked like he thought he had help behind him, but either way, Michael O'Connor recognized it, got it out over the top to him. But you look at Josh Pearson. He's 6'4". Jamarius Way is 6'4", 220 out of South Alabama. Jazz Ferguson, 6'5" receiver, 87 for the Lions, 6'5", 223 out of Northwestern. I mean, they brought in some big targets.
And they joined Katoy, who's 6'5" as well. So definitely, you know, you've got the Burnhams and you've got the Lucky Whitehead, and then you got a bunch of big boys playing alongside them. (17-12) BC Lions sitting on top here with a minute and 29 seconds left.
Amar Doman has done some great things, the new owner of the BC Lions. You saw signs outside. They're really pushing a whole bunch of new exciting promos. One Republic will play in the opener. Big band that all the kids are excited about seeing. It's going to be a big crowd opening night. They're doing a lot of good things in the organization and the new owner, Amar Doman.
Nice return there by Cooper. But yeah, good buzz around the Lions in the city here.
One of those good things is this. The first time ever that a woman, a female coach, has been hired full-time in the Canadian Football League. That's Tanya Walter. February 15th. Walker, excuse me, and that's on February 15th. She got the job full-time coaching staff for the BC Lions, and you know, when you look at that resume, she's qualified.
No doubt about it. 5 years as an assistant at St. FX in Edmonton, and now here with the Lions. I'll hand this off, toss it into the hands, I should say, of Jonathan Johnson, who uses that speed once again to pick up 7.
Looks like she's up there charting plays right now and ready to break them down in video session.
We talked about Canadian quarterbacks watching Rourke and saying, hey, I could do that. Well, here's another huge inspiration for a bunch of young girls who might be watching right now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's more and more young women that are playing flag football, tackle football. Valkyrie and Saskatchewan is a real successful team, and you know I just see more of it. We've seen 3 or 4 different female officials that have started to work their way into that end of it. There's a new program, the Canadian Football League. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now, but there's women in the organizations across the country.
All across the league, yep.
Yep.
Final play of the quarter, low snap. Bolagala's got it, a low throw. And Haydel could not haul that in. And the Riders have the ball, but they trail on the road here, 17-12. BC Lions defensively and offensively making some big plays here in the third quarter. And they find themselves on top. Preseason set to wrap up here in Vancouver tonight. The BC Lions on top 17-12. Their Canadian quarterbacks, both of them making an impact in this ballgame. That's one thing that we can certainly talk about as we work our way through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Cody Fajardo looked good in his limited time playing in the first quarter. He got the first few series. You know, both these teams playing a lot of number one guys in the top, and their stars. And you know, this is preseason for everybody. and it is Tanya Walter, part of the coaching staff here in BC, and we'll get that all corrected and straightened out. But a cool initiative. She's qualified when you looked at her resume and the board we put up, and this is a, you know, this is a great sort of, it's a first step. I mean, this is literally breaking new ground, because this is the first ever female full-time coach in the Canadian Football League.
Seeing the NBA start to trend that way a little bit. One of the first leagues to do it. We get some female coaches involved. It's good to see other leagues follow up as well. Here's a completion. Good zip on that pass. And nice catch. And a good job breaking a tackle from Jeremiah Haydel, who's been involved in the return game a little bit. He's got a catch right there. Well, Lagala's come in through that interception. He's 5 of 7 for 46 yards. Fajardo 6 of 12 for 64, and Fine was 5 of 10 for 36. So similar numbers for Fajardo and Fine earlier in the game. Now we watch Lagala. Completion for about half of what they needed.
And what we did see was a little of that chemistry we talked about with Cody Fajardo and the Duke Williams play down the field that was so close. It was pass interference put on the 1 yard line, and the Riders scored. But you know, I think I see an air of confidence in Cody Fajardo. Every time we come out of, every team feels pretty good about their team at this point in the season. Coming out of training camp, you like what you got, you like your guys, and you have to translate that to the regular season of the playing field.
As a flag flies, trying to zip it in there for Emelis, and was Emelis interfered with.
Well, I think we're going to like this. If you're a football fan, you're going to like this secondary.
Illegal
for the
contact.
BC Lions.
BC, number 10. It's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
I liked their secondary last year. Like this defense has a lot of very talented individuals.
Yeah, exactly. I believe this is the penalty down here, but you know, I look at Marcus Sales, who is one of those guys that is small but great feet and plays big and makes a lot of tackles for a guy out of the secondary. If Delvin Breaux plays Delvin Breaux football, that's a lockdown corner. You got TJ Lee in the middle.
They're going to swing it out. This is Emelis again with some speed right up the middle. First down and more. And the first round draft pick takes it inside the 15.
I love his confidence.
He's got some swag, doesn't he?
He does. He's got some swag to him. He's just, you know, he catches that ball, accelerates to contact, isn't afraid of it, doesn't look like the stage is too big for him, and he just takes that little hitch and hits it. I love it.
Doesn't look like a huge guy, but he's listed at 6'1", 200. So he's got the size to make some plays.
That's one of the great aspects of Canadian football, as you know, Dustin, is we give an opportunity to the small athletic guys.
15 yards for Emelis. Another completion, this one back to Haydel, and he hangs on as Dolagala put that one in there with some speed behind it. 7-yard pickup.
And Keith Johnson out there is getting picked on a little bit. And you know what, as a DB in the preseason, you kind of hope this happens because it gives you a chance to make a play.
Make some plays, yeah.
He makes a play now, maybe takes one back, maybe makes the team because you don't want him to throw it the other side.
Fourth trip inside the 20 here for the Riders. They'll hand it off, looking for that far corner is Cooper, and he gets hammered out of bounds before he could get there. A nice burst. It looked like it was
Neil Cooper
on Shaq Cooper.
I'll tell you what, Cooper showed some closing speed there. I thought.
You think Shaq was home?
Yeah, I thought Shaq Cooper had the edge. It looked like, he's got the corner. That's some closing speed from Tennille Cooper.
My goodness, he flew past a couple of his teammates to get out there and make that play. I was reading a little bit earlier today on the BC Lions website about some guys to watch tonight, and this guy was one of them, Tennille Cooper. By all accounts, he's had a pretty good camp. And I mean, we just talked about the secondary. Like, there's a lot of talent on the secondary, and he's trying to earn a job in there somewhere. 5
defensive tackles in the Calgary exhibition game and 1 interception in that one, so he's already on the board for a pick in the preseason. That's a great close to keep Saskatchewan out of the end zone.
I believe he had a little bit of time, 5 games with the Bombers back in 2018. Now he's here trying to earn a job with the Lions. Hand it off to Cooper again. This time he had nowhere to go. Oh, sure. And whatever, if there was a hole, it was closed quickly.
All these young guys now looking at the play clock and saying, now's my time. I got to do something. I got to make something happen.
Ryder Varga, the man there to finish it. 11th play of this drive, and this offense looks to cash in. Dolagala with 4 receivers to his right. That's where he's going to look first. That's where he's going to go. He's got a man, and they got a touchdown. Justin McInnes to the end zone, and the Riders go back on top, 18-17.
Ball right in the middle, so the BC Lions defensively have got to cover the entire 65-yard wide field. And that out route by McInnes. Just used the width of the field to his advantage and got outside leverage.
Dolagala.
Misconduct penalty, Saskatchewan, number 80. The 10 yards will be applied on the kickoff.
Misconduct, Xavier Ubosi. 11-play, 70-yard drive finished off there by Dolagala, getting it to McInnes. Dolagala now 9 of 11, 77 yards, touchdown and an interception through that one pick. But he's the only quarterback tonight for the Riders to throw a touchdown. That kick is off the upright. Second time tonight we've seen a kick off the upright. That one off the leg of Henry Neal. And the lead remains 1. Riders on top, courtesy McInnes. Fighting for a spot in the starting lineup. Finds the end zone. Justin McInnes finding the end zone. Looked like Duke Williams found a little bit earlier in the game. Right now he has found Farhan Logic.
Yeah, you know, and during the break he was actually singing. We heard a little Sweet Caroline. We heard a little Living on a Prayer. If you just sang country, Duke, Glenn would really, really like you. He's a big country guy. Just how much excitement is there around this team right now, given the Grey Cup is in Saskatchewan and just a lot of expectations for you guys?
Man, it's very exciting. You know, we had a great camp. We're watching the young guys perform right now, so, you know, we're just going to support them until the game over with. But the energy's been great. You know, we're ready for week 1. We put in the work during camp, got our feet wet for a quarter and a half today, and we're ready to see what we're going to do in the regular season.
Now, certainly when you came back midway through last season, you made a difference. How much more of a difference is it having you here in camp in terms of being able to build the offense around you a bit and just getting comfortable with Cody?
Oh, I definitely needed it because like you said, I came late in the season, so I didn't really have the chemistry, but, you know, I did a good job. But right now, I had a whole camp to play. I know the whole playbook, and I'm playing faster, and me and Cody on the same page. So once we connect even more and get the chemistry down even more, it'll be something to watch.
When we look at you and Shaq and Kyron Moore and Kean Schaefer-Baker, is this the best receiving core in the CFL?
We'll let our play do that, you know? we know we got other players that's good out here, but I feel like we dominant, we great, and no team in the CFL is going to play us one-on-one. I know that for a fact. And if they do, we'll just take advantage of it and find a mismatch and go at them. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're going to be a great group, and nobody can tell me different.
Duke, thanks for this. We look forward to watching you this season.
Appreciate it.
That's outstanding. Yeah, I love that. Now, Kyron Moore is nicked, and he won't start the season, I don't believe. But they are a good core, and they've got a good group of Canadians that we've seen as well.
It's just good having Duke Williams back in the league.
Oh, no question. And, you know, Duke Williams is one of those guys that you gravitate to. I mean, you know, him and Shaq talking now and having fun, and you know, before the game, he's out there talking to some young fans and playing catch here in BC Place. And, you know, this is the type of guy he's going to be in the province and in Saskatchewan. He's going to be a fan favorite, not only because of his playmaking ability, but here's the other thing I love about him. On the field and in his meeting rooms with the receivers, he brings the edge. He brings the competitive, make the catch in practice every single time attitude and mentality, and you need those guys. They push you to be better every day.
This one handed off by O'Connor, brought ahead by Clark. Darius Clark into the game. Clark, 6'2", 210, a little bit of a bigger back than the other options that we've seen the BC Lions bring to the table. A few touches in their first preseason game as well. Did Clark. Stands in there to the left of O'Connor right now. BC Lions trailing by a point. Riders are going to bring some pressure. There are flags. Those O'Connor lets this fly. High pass, but it is caught and then pushed ahead. Alexander Hollins.
See, that throw from Michael O'Connor is shorter this year than it's ever
Saskatchewan, number 28. That penalty is declined. First down.
There have been some quarterbacks that have come out. Michael O'Connor is not one of them, but there's been some that can't make that throw to the wide field. And then some quarterbacks from the States that come up and they see the 65-yard wide field and they go, that wide field out from the hash mark, that is a 45-yard throw to get it out there, and you have to be on time or it's going to the house the other way. Now it's 4 yards closer.
1st and 10 on their own 50 for the Lions. Just over 9 minutes to play here in the preseason. And now we've got another flag just as that ball was about to be snapped.
Nicholas Daly is putting together a nice second half here. I've seen him a few times in the backfield. He was offside.
BC number 11. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
He was offsides one time, but originally drafted by Winnipeg, and again, a U of R kid. He is University of Regina. He's had a good second half. He started out with the Okanagan Sun. He was a Husky as well.
I think he went Regina.
Yep.
And then to Okanagan Sun,
and then to the U of
finished.
S.
Yep.
But 96 is getting himself on video.
Huge hit earlier in the game. I'm sure you'll see that pop up on social media somewhere. O'Connor gets this one away quickly, up for grabs, and it's held on to. And a good job staying focused there to get that ball midfield. Scarfone staying focused and hauling it in. Kind of popped it up and then waited for it to come down.
Double clutched it a little bit, but braced himself for impact.
10-yard pickup. Puts them in 2nd and 5. Smack dab at midfield. And there's more movement. And you're right, Glenn. You really blew it when you talked about no penalties in the first quarter.
64. 5-yard penalty remains.
Well, here's another thing that football fans across the country, I'm sure, will be interested to hear, that they have talked to the officials and worked in the offseason on getting these calls, if there's penalties, to get them out quicker. You're going to see more penalties in the preseason, but then hopefully we get in the regular season. But, you know, if we can cut it down from 20 to 15 a game, I mean, everybody wins, both teams and the officials and the fans. And one thing they're going to do for sure is try, going deep shot.
Yeah, down the field, going up and getting it and hauling it in. That is a heck of a play on the far side of the field. That's 6'4" Jamarius Way, who had a touchdown earlier in the preseason against Calgary.
Yeah, that's why you recruit big receivers. You recruit them so they can make plays like this and high point the football when it's in the air and go up over top the DB and rip it down. 33-yarder.
Talking about putting something on tape. He had a touchdown early in the preseason. Now he's got that catch. A couple of good things for Way out of Southern Alabama. O'Connor out into the flat. That will be complete, and a nice push after the fact as well from Micah Simon.
So the officials are going to work on really hurrying up the process. So there's going to be officials on the sideline to talk to the coaches in real time. They can't call penalties, but you know, when it comes to the flag hits the turf and they have to make the announcement and get it sort of, they are really working on speeding up that process.
Turn around quicker.
Yeah, and if a coach needs to talk to someone, they can talk to an official right there on the sideline with them, appointed. Again, all new this year. Try and speed up the pace of the game.
2nd and 2. O'Connor to his running back. Took a big pop there, but Darius Clark was able to hang on.
Yeah, and there he is again. U of S, U of R.
That was Daly.
I guess that's a rival in Saskatchewan, U of R and U of S.
He touched both sides of that
Well,
thing.
yeah, he's on both sides of it, so you know, I guess that means the province cheers for him.
6'3", 226 is Daly.
I'll tell you what, he's put together a real good second half. Good for him.
We were watching him a little bit when I was doing university football, and he was a monster as an end. He was essentially on that, because you see his body type in youth sports, and he was a little bit of a freak there.
Well, he just on that last play showed he can drop into coverage and come up and make a hit in the open field.
So we've got an injured player down on the field. Is that Way? Yes, that is Jamarius Way, who just made that big catch a little bit earlier on. Less than 6 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter at BC Place in Vancouver. It's the Riders on top by a point against the Lions. And there is a look at Jamarius Way. A left arm injury is being held as he walks off. Here's another look.
Yeah, we'll show you one time. It hyperextends the elbow and he's going down here, and you'll see the elbow's just not supposed to bend like that when it went in. So injury will be the hyperextended elbow. Look at Duke Williams over there showing some great sportsmanship, just saying, hey, hang in there, man. And now he's walking off thinking, have I done enough?
Had a touchdown earlier in the preseason, big catch there.
Have I done enough to make the team rehab and get back out there?
Here's O'Connor, 9 of 11 so far. Make it 10 of 12. Back to Scarfone, who's got nowhere to go. Wrapped up very neatly on the play. And that will bring up 3rd down.
Michael O'Connor, with his background at UBC, he's playing on the same field. He's had to make that wide field throw a bunch of times.
Very familiar with it. O'Connor's 123 yards and a touchdown since coming in for work. So a nice night for both Canadian quarterbacks.
Oh, he's upset with something.
I guess that's what happens when you got the teams on the same sideline. Sean White hammers it home and puts the BC Lions on top, 2018.
On defense last year, the BC Lions were tied for first in the interception department. and no surprise there that Ryan Phillips was part of the defensive staff. Now the new defensive coordinator, and what did he do? Because the place that they had to improve upon was their pressure. Last in the league in sacks, and he brings in the veteran all-star John Bowman to help with the defensive line. 14 years, two-time All-CFL, 134 sacks.
So a decent guy to learn from.
Yeah, I would say that's a good hire.
Mason Fine is back in this game for the Riders. Throws that one incomplete.
And you know, I mean, Ryan Phillips technically he was the coordinator last year. And so, you know, when you're doing the job, you might as well have the title too. He's got the title now. Not surprised at all. And to bring in John Bowman, one of the great rush ends of all time, he's going to work with those defensive linemen. He's going to help them out because that's where they have to improve. The BC Lions have got to pressure the quarterback much better this year than they did last.
2nd and 10 for the Riders on their 40. Fine with time down the field. And Haydel kind of held up ever so slightly and then couldn't get back up to full speed to go get that one.
Yeah, it almost looked like Haydel was trying to draw a penalty rather than just play the ball. He comes out of that track stance. Little shake right there on Josh Thornton, and then almost looked like he was trying to draw a penalty, and Ryan Phillips said, go get the interception. He had a few in his time. 49, I believe. The only reason I knew that off the top of my head was because he always reminds me. Good guy, and a guy that I met with before almost every Lions game that I've covered over the last 27 years, and a lot of them with Ryan Phillips, one of the great leaders on defense, and he
shows that emotion, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be great for this team and this organization, and not surprised at all he went right into coaching.
3:58 remaining here. The Riders down by 2. And they're set to kick this away. Monte Crockett waiting for it back at his own 21-yard line for the Lions. And this kick will drop at about the 22. 48-yard kick. Flag on the play as Crockett tried to slide to the outside, could never get there. PGA Tour coverage continues tomorrow with the Memorial as the best in golf showcase their talents at one of the world's most challenging venues. Third round action gets underway at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific on TSN. Cam Smith with the lead. Mac Hughes tied for 13th, 4 shots off the pace, and that will continue tomorrow.
2-point game if you want to actually test young players. 2-point game going into the 3-minute warning. Here's the test. Put the spotlight on them, see who performs.
That's what a lot of this is about. Like, you want to evaluate certain players in this moment.
Under the gun, under the pressure of win or lose in this next few drives.
O'Connor's 10 of 12, 123 and a touchdown. Stands in there with 3 receivers over to his left. They're going to hand this ball off. There's a big hole there and a nice tackle at the last second, or else Darius Clark might have done some serious damage, but Amari Henderson tripped him up.
Boy, that was a big tackle. That was a big tackle because it looked like he had a whole bunch more real estate in front of him. Henderson slides in there and just hangs on to the heels.
That could have been another 15, 20 yards.
Yeah, and it doesn't, sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes it's not a form tackle. You just got to get him on the ground.
They gave him 7 yards, 2nd and 3 on the 19 here for O'Connor. Calmly in the pocket, guns it out, has a first down as he got it to Josh Pearson, who has a touchdown in this ball game. Inside 3 minutes here in Vancouver. Lions on top. Big Big time football is back. CFL regular season kicks off June 9th, less than a week away, with an action-packed schedule rolling all the way into the weekend. Tune in on Thursdays. The Alouettes take on the Stampeders at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, exclusively on TSN. The Red Blacks, Bombers, Ticats, Roughriders, as well as we work our way all the way through the weekend and then wrapping up right here in Vancouver. That's where we'll wrap up week 1. They'll hand this off and nowhere to go on first down for Clark. As BC looks to hang on here, up by a pair.
Yeah, like hang on, drive the football, kill the clock, and walk away with a home win in the preseason. I mean, it's still win and it still feels good. If you want to start to grow and build that culture, that, you know, you want to win the play, win the down, win the practice moment, win the one-on-one, win in the video room.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Win everywhere.
Exactly.
O'Connor's 11 of 13. Rourke earlier was 13 of 19. Both of them have thrown a touchdown pass in this game, and they have their team on top. Now they're softly underneath to Clark. Makes a couple of guys miss, and it's got a first down. 13-yard pickup for Darius Clark.
Yeah, again, I know Michael O'Connor has a little bit of experience, and he's been on a couple of teams now in the CFL at this level, but stage hasn't been too big, has it, tonight?
No, not at all.
Yeah, just sitting in there running the offense, made a couple of really nice wide field throws. That deep one down the sideline to Way.
Darius Clark in there at running back, spent part of 2021 with Carolina and then had a knee injury that ended his season. A flag, looked like a receiver had moved early as they handed off to Clark. I think Micah Simon might be the guilty party here with 1 minute and 25 seconds on the clock. You like to see Rourke still so involved.
Engaged, yeah.
In the game.
Absolutely.
Offside, BC, number 77. That penalty is declined. Second down.
That'll bring up second down here in Vancouver, where people are excited about the BC Lions. You talked about the ownership a little earlier on. I know in Edmonton, people are buzzing about the Elks as well, with Victor Cui coming in and taking over. So just some fresh blood in the league is, I think, got people really excited for the upcoming season. A full schedule obviously helps.
And I'm going through rosters, and I'm seeing a lot of talent, world-class players, both Canadian and American, and we're going to have a good year.
O'Connor far side. Did he drop that there in time? I don't think he did.
And you know what? This is, you know, I know that one of the narratives
they're going to say he got it.
For the last few months has been that scoring was down, and you know, when you don't have a season and then you don't have a preseason and your offenses don't play together for like a year and a half, and you have young quarterbacks that are starting in the league. I mean, this wasn't Ricky Ray and Damon Allen and Matt Dunnigan and all those guys. It was Bo Levi Mitchell and a bunch of third, second, or rookie quarterbacks in the league. And when you combine all of that, yes. Oh, and by the way, there was the Winnipeg defense.
I was gonna add that. I was gonna say, you know what brings scoring down?
Yeah.
An all-time good defense.
Yeah.
It does. The Bombers defense, not by themselves, but had a significant impact on scoring in the CFL last year. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. So, you know, and the scoring was down by 3 points. Now, some will say that it was down, trending down, but if you look back for 20 years, it trends down for a couple of years and it trends back up, and it usually depends on the experience at the quarterback position as to where it's going to be, and innovation on defense, things like that. But I think when you look at the talent, you look at the receivers, and you look at these quarterbacks growing into it, I mean, this guy he's already an all-star caliber quarterback. He's got to take the next step. Dane Evans got to take, Jeremiah Mazzoli. They're all right on the cusp of becoming those guys.
They'll hand it off again to Clark. Pushing it ahead for a couple of yards, but they were in a 2nd and 15 situation, so it'll be 3rd and long, and Flintoff will come out and kick it away with 31 seconds remaining on the clock.
Well, they're trying to get that done, get the ball back, and just need field goal range.
It's just going to be a great week next week. With the regular season going, I'm fired up. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Jardo, Clark, and
Timeout, BC.
BC's going to take a timeout here with 9 seconds left and kick this away. And we'll see what Troymaine Pope has up his sleeve. He stands back on his own 19. You know, they lost earlier, so I know it's preseason. But for this group to wrap up the preseason with a victory, you got to feel good about it, right?
Oh, hey, it's always good to win. I don't care if you're playing cornhole or bocce or whatever it is. It's always great to win. Cards, crib. Crib is a game that you don't play on your phone. You actually have playing cards and you go around a little board.
Never heard of it. And also, you can play it on your phone.
Okay. Yeah,
guaranteed. You can do anything on your phone.
I'm sure you can. Yeah.
As it kicks away. Pope's going to have to move over to his left. And that ball will come into his hands at the 5. A flag on the play as he runs it out of bounds.
And that should do it.
That should do it, which means the preseason is now complete. Glenn, your thoughts on what we saw in a couple of games here and maybe generally around the league?
Yeah, along the league, looking at all of the talent.
Saskatchewan, number 77. That penalty is declined. Game over.
Yeah, and I see a ton of talent. I think scoring is going to shoot right back up because there's some good young quarterbacks, including this guy who, in his first preseason action as the guy in BC, put together a real nice game and a win for the BC Lions. Nathan Rourke got his career as the starter here in BC off to a good footing.
Locked in and ready to go for week 1 is Rourke, 13 of 19 for 145 yards and a touchdown. Cody Fajardo played about a quarter and a half, ended up with 64 yards passing as the Riders do come up short here to wrap up the preseason. Their second game in 4 days. They lose 2018 to the BC Lions. That's it. We are ready to do it for real starting on Thursday. Do not miss the season opener. It'll be right here on TSN. Let's send it to Sports Center with Kelsey and Sarah.